friends. I'm Balaji. I'm a long distance runner and also a speaker, but I speak only during my long runs. In fact, I don't mind calling myself a motivational speaker because everyone who runs with me runs away from me whenever I speak during the runs. Having said that, this is a new challenge for me. I'm asked to stand still and talk to an audience who are firmly harnessed in their seats. I have to admit that suddenly running a marathon looks a lot easier. Okay, here I am, asked to talk about running. I wondered whom to look up to. So, I looked up to one of my inspirations in running. Well, not Nelson Mandela. He's definitely an inspiration in various other aspects. This is a gentleman by name Bruce Fordyce. He's a legend in South Africa, having run the Comrades Marathon over 45 times and winning it 8 times. He was once asked to give a talk on running. And this is what he has to say about running. All that you need to run is good heart, lungs, legs, and no brain cells. This should come as a surprise to many. We all associate learning with something to do with their intellect or intelligence. And here is a seasoned runner who tells that it has nothing to do with any of them. You just need to have no brain cells. So which effectively means that we all need to be like a jellyfish. Of course, it doesn't have even heart and lungs, which I learned later. So is there anything possible, a learning possible, that you don't need to use your brain cells? Actually, I have a confession to make. It is true that running doesn't require any brain cells. It's a very simple act of putting one foot after another. Some do it for a longer time. Some do it faster. Ultimately, everyone does it very, very simple. It's just one foot after another. So what's the big deal about running? You take up sports. There's a lot to learn from it. There's a skill. There is a hand-to-eye contact. There are wonderful body movements. And sometimes even beyond that. Billie Jean King, more than a sportsman, she's known to this generation as someone who stood up for women tennis. She stood up for LGBT rights. And she owes everything that she learned about her value system in sports. She owes her personal development through sports. But running, is it even a sport? You don't need to use any skill set. Everybody is a runner, in my opinion. Well, to play any sport, running is critical. Whether you're a cricket player, whether you're a footballer or a tennis player, you need to run. You need to run for something. Which brings me to what I want to share with you. Running is not about what to learn, but it's more about how to learn. Just like how being a good runner helps you to be a good sportsman, it is the same values and the culture that you learn from running that gets applied to different aspects of life. I want to dwell about a few of those that I learned over my last 15 to 16 years of running. So the first aspect I would like to discuss, it's setting an aspiration. We all come from a society where most of our aspirations, goals at a younger age are set by the social norms. You have to go to the school, followed by a college, followed by a work, and in the work, the progress is measured by whatever the work dictates us. We have never been taught how to set an aspiration for ourselves. Let me admit, I did not take up to running because I really wanted to be a runner. I wanted to be a sportsman. I wanted to play cricket. I was complete rubbish in that. I wanted to play football. I was put as a goalkeeper, and I think I learned dance more than actual goalkeeping. I took up to running because I didn't find myself fit to play any sport. That's how I started running. Once I started running, I started setting aspirations for myself. Initially, it was just an activity to help me to improve my breathing and thus control asthma. Later it became a way to discipline myself. And after I learned that I can cover some distances, I slowly started moving to marathons, ultra marathons, and so on. This simple aspect, how you set aspirations for yourselves, is one of the very significant learning that I could pick up from running. Dennis Bergkamp, a legend in football, had this beautiful thing to say. We all aim for perfection, and that's one thing that I always liked in running. You climb a mountain, you see the next mountain. You run a marathon today, you just don't stop. The next day the first thought is, okay, what is next? What is the next place I want to go and run? Sometimes the next mountain is going to be the very next day running actually. That's how the aspirations are set in running. The next aspect I want to talk about is persistence and determination. These two qualities can never be taught in any textbook, or it cannot be taught by any coach, although it can be facilitated by some of the coaches. Ultimately, persistence and determination is something that we pick up from ourselves. I want to share this simple one life incident that brought me this wonderful wisdom. It was in 2006. I wanted to run the Mumbai Marathon. Honestly, at that time I couldn't really call myself a runner. I used to run 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, but a marathon is way out of my reach those days. I still went ahead, registered myself. Those are the days when Mumbai Marathon started at 8 o'clock in the morning, under the scorching heat of Mumbai. Somewhere around the 13th or 14th kilometer, I realized I can't run anymore. It was at this stage I thought, okay, let's throw the towel and go back home. We are not fit for running anymore. I asked myself, did I come all the way to just quit at this stage? Okay, if I walk all the way back, I'll still be a laughing stock. Doesn't matter. I have come to complete a distance of 42.195 kilometers, and let me do it. Walk through the streets of Mumbai in the hot sun. The vehicle movements were already started. There was dust, there was pollution, there was no water station. I had to buy water here and there, but I persisted with it. I managed to go all the way to the finish line. Well, luckily there was one volunteer who was packing all the medals. He unpacked the box and then he picked up a medal and gave me. I was so grateful for him for that medal. In the movie Chariots of Fire, Eric Liddell, the protagonist, would be asked, where does he see the strength to finish? He has this one line to say, you find your strength only from within. Persistence, determination to do anything, any activity, ultimately relies on the individual. Whether it is a professional work, whether it is a personal assignment, you need to find the persistence and determination only from within. And I'm grateful to running for teaching me that quality. Having failed miserably in 2006 in running the Mumbai Marathon, in 2009, I managed to run the entire marathon under 5 hours, finishing in 4 hours 53 minutes. So what happened in between 2006 and 2009? That brings me to the third aspect, the group. Support from the group has been very, very critical for me in improving my own running. Sometimes it's not just about running, it goes beyond running, the kind of guidance, support. Well, as you would see in the picture, I started running with full pants, and it was the group which taught me, saying that, hey, you don't need to really worry about yourself, start running in shorts. It could be a trivial one, but it helps significantly. The group has always been a major source of strength for me, both in my running and the subsequent activities that I've undertaken in running, be it organizing running events, training people for running events, various social work that I've undertaken around running. The group has always been a real pillar of strength. And I'm very happy to say, even today when I'm giving a talk here, I have my friends from my group sitting in the audience who are a major source of strength for me. As Helen Keller beautifully says, this together we can do so much. One of the output that most of you in Coimbatore have seen is the Coimbatore Marathon, which I'm proud to be associated with a group of friends. They've all been a source of strength for me. And the kind of activities that we could achieve has been unparalleled. Each one of them are highly self-motivated, and they keep the motivation levels very high of the group. So, you have an aspiration, you persist with it, you have a group to support, which is a perfect ingredient of success. But you miss one aspect of it, that's humility. No matter what you do, no matter however high you go, you got to keep yourself grounded. And running has certainly taught me how to stay grounded. Early this year, I went ahead and ran the famous Two Oceans Marathon in South Africa. It was a 56-kilometer run, which we have to finish under 7 hours. This was something I thought I can take it for granted. Here was I who finished a run that's occasionally called the big brother of the two oceans. That is the Comrades Marathon. I have finished the race under 12 hours. So this I thought should be a cakewalk for me. Somewhere in the 6th hour, I started cramping and I couldn't move any further. It was a humbling moment, and I realized, yes, there is something that we still can't do it. It was a different story that I managed to again scrape back past the timing limit within a minute to spare. But it was a truly humbling moment, whether it's a 5 kilometer or a 50 kilometer or even a 500 kilometers. You got to respect the distance, you got to respect the terrain. We need to learn to respect the external factors that often support us or often present a challenge to us, and stay humble. So that brings to me to a close about the 4 major aspects that I feel I've learned through running. It helps me to set aspirations. It helped me to persist with my aspirations and be determined to achieve them. I have a wonderful group and wonderful bunch of friends to support me in all these aspirations. And running always keeps me grounded and humble and to look for more. Well, is it all enough? Today morning when I was hearing a talk by Sonal, I realized running is not just a task I undertake, it's also a privilege that I have. The fact that I'm able to run comfortably is a privilege that I have. The name, the fame, the financial success, of course I didn't have much through running. Whatever it may be, you may achieve through running or through any activity in life. It all counts for nothing unless you build a single most ingredient. That's your character. Reputation comes and goes. Character is something that stays with you. I often credit running to helping me to build my character. This is not something I say I have learned, but this is something I still continue to learn, and I will continue to learn. This month marks the 50th anniversary of one of the iconic moments in the world of sports. It was the 1968 Olympics. Tommy Smith, Peter Norman, John Carlos finished the top 3 positions of the 200-meter race. Tommy Smith and John Carlos decided to use the opportunity to convey something different. They did not want to cherish the success. They did not want to enjoy the celebration, get a multi-million contract, endorsements. No. They used the opportunity to demonstrate the prevailing injustice among the racial sections of US. They come from the underprivileged blacks, and it was at that time when United States was undergoing a lot of discrimination and there was a lot of violence against the blacks. They decided to use the opportunity to protest against all this injustice. They were banned from international sports. They lost the credibility of United States Athletics Association, which means they could never participate in any race again. They were condemned. They were banned from any sporting activity, any part of the world, including Peter Norman, who stood alongside with them. Although he didn't protest directly, Australian Athletics Federation decided to ban him for standing up with these two guys. But somewhere in them, they really made the statement. They stood up for what they believe in, despite what they could have achieved. Incidentally, it's a very emotional moment when you realize in 2006, when Peter Norman expired, Tommy Smith and John Carlos traveled all the way from the United States to carry the coffin all the way to the grave. In the recent interview, John Carlos said it beautifully, what it means to protest. I would just like to read it out for you. In life, there is the beginning and the end. The beginning don't matter and the end don't matter. All that matters is what you do in between. Whether you are prepared to do what it makes to change. There has to be physical and material sacrifice. When all the dust settles, the greatest reward is to know that you did your job when you were here on the planet. Running has given me so much. Many times I'm proud to say it has often taught me what I can be and what I ought to be. Having said that, all of them counts for nothing if ultimately I don't build my character. If there's a single most lesson that I would like to learn from running and constantly learn from running is how I can build my character on the run and transform it off the run. Having said that, I'd like to end my speech by saying I want to see each one of you on the run sooner or later. Thank you.